This is the Zone Football League.
Welcome back to another episode of the Zone In podcast, where we talk everything Zone Football League across Newcastle. As always, I'm Mason, and joining me is probably an unfamiliar face as of recent, CT. Back to the land of football. How are we?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I can't say I've been away from it. I've just not been here on the podcast on a Monday night.
So how... Like, you've been still following it up and watching along when you've been around?
Yeah, I mean, just the way work's been, just Monday nights and Wednesday nights and whatever night we're picking, that's when, when I've been away, not on purpose, just the way it's fallen. But, yeah, I'm back tonight and I'm looking forward to it.
That's the way. And we were speaking just before. You've seen a few clips, watched along the first 30 minutes of the match of the round on the weekend, which saw Hamilton Azuri take on Westlake's Wildcats, with Westlakes getting the win there 3-1. Some decent goals. There's 4 of them. But yeah, straight off the bat, what's your thoughts? And you've got a few insiders I hear as well.
Yeah, well, Graham Schofield and I coached together at Lakes about 15 years ago, so I know Scoey really well. What a legend he is too. So you guys in that group, you're very lucky to have him because he is a champion. What a great coach he is too. But the pick out of the goals for me was Taj Field. Like, this guy, he's picked it up from, it's come out from the right-hand side, picked it up on his left foot, taken one touch and
Cracked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Top left-hand corner as you're looking at it.
Yeah.
And a terrific goal. Like, just to strike it. If you do that again this decade, you're happy with yourself.
Oh, for sure. I think if you do it once, I know I'd be happy with that one, and especially being on camera as well, he'd be stoked with that one.
Oh, wouldn't you ever? You'd just have it on replay.
Yeah.
Home full time. But yeah, great goal. And there's some other notables in there. Carl Thornton comes into the side for them. I know he's carried a bit of a niggle and might have had a week or so off. I didn't even know he was playing with Westlakes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So Carl Thornton is an absolute legend of a player. His ability to change games on his own and playing, he'll probably play central at back, I would imagine, for them as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a touch more forward, and even in the midfield, it wouldn't surprise to see him pop up. But his quality and his distribution is perfect. His understanding of the game, second to none, and it'd be a massive boost to that team. And he's popped in with a goal as well. And I think that was after about 15 minutes or so, 17 minutes thereabouts. And then the first one from the man of the match, Craig Fenner.
Craig Fenner, yeah, the ex-Millwall youth product apparently, come through the system there. Originally a centre-back as well, and applying his trade up top now for Westlakes. A bit of a change there.
Yeah, it'd be good to get to a bit more of a story. I mean, we'll see you in the grand final, no doubt, mate. Scrapping it around. It'll be a bit more of a story on that a bit later, because that is a good one.
Yeah. And as Gareth was the commentator on the weekend, he did award Craig Fenner with the Match of the Round Harry Schnitzel Award. As you say, the games you've commentated, some of the winners maybe need a schnitzel, a bit scrawnier and such, but Craig looks pretty well fed, but could definitely do with a schnitzel, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not come from me. It's Gareth Wosick, the commentator on the game, and the Wosick Wonder has come out with that one. He just comes out with the best one-liners ever. I think with the Harry Schnitzel man of the match, all jokes aside, if you've been selected for that, what a huge honour. Week in, week out, someone's going to win it. But, out of 25 or so people that are used on the day, and you're the one that's selected, it's a big honour. And I think that, it's, a schnitzel, what it is, but it's also the fact that you're sponsored by Harry, and that's the big one for me. And Harry loves watching it, and he loves getting into it. So
exactly right. Yeah,
we keep, as Gareth said, it's in my glove box, which is still his mate. So you have to track me down and see how we go. But yeah, a good all round performance, and the part of the game that I did see, he played really well. Yeah, for sure, and almost identical, I would say, the first 2 goals. Craig's and then Carl's. But both headers.
Whipped free kick in, back sticks, headers to the post. Almost looked like, only because it was identical for both goals, almost looks like a training routine for them. They just made it look so easy.
Well, with Carl and his brother Liam Thornton, they can both head the ball. and I've had a fair bit to do, well, especially with Liam in his younger time. But both terrific headers of the ball, and they will score. And Carl will score goals with his head. In fact, he'll just score whatever body part he needs. But
well, he
like
definitely proved that on the weekend. Yeah,
a big addition to their side.
Yeah, and not all misery for Azuri on the day with Nashat getting a goal. It just the last goal of the first half. So they did look like they were trying to hold on and dig in there, but unfortunately not their result on the day. That does keep Westlakes just off the bottom for the relegation, keeping Azuri firmly in 12th, unfortunately. I did make reference in last week's episode to Will, so that probably the loser of this one is kind of gets the nail in the coffin. Obviously, there's still a fair few rounds to go, but unfortunately, it looks like it might be Azuri's time to go.
Yeah, they've done it a bit tough, and as you know, I've got a couple of mates in that side. So they look. It's just that the way that it has been for them. They've had people away, they've had injuries, all the usual stuff that happens, and not from a lack of trying, but in a competition, it's been a lot stronger than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah.
They've been on the unlucky end of a lot of it, and games like this one for them, are winnable. But the Westlake side just were, they're putting a couple of goals in, and 3 in fact, and too much of a stretch for Azuri.
Yeah, for sure, and it's unfortunate for the formerly known the People's Club that this may be the result for them to go down. But hey, that's the thing with the new promotion relegation system. You can go down, rebuild, have some time to reconsolidate, and then hey, who's to say we don't see Azuri back in the top flight in the years to come? Yeah,
exactly, and maybe we will.
So yeah, obviously disappointing for Azuri, and you yourself knowing a few of the players at Azuri.
Yeah, the People's Club, as you mentioned. But Jason, Alex Evans, these guys have been in contact with this year, and I know how passionate they've been. And you guys, if there were 20 of you, I'm sure, we wouldn't be seeing the results if everyone was fit. And look, it's just going to be for those two. And others that I know in the group, and so does Gaz. He knows a few of the players as well. So hopefully they'll get a run on at the back end of it, and we're getting towards that part of the season.
Yeah, for sure. And like Braden as well, the president of Azuri, does a lot for the club, a lot for the team as well. So I know he'll be disappointed as well. But yeah. Hopefully they can
scrap a couple of wins together, boys.
Yeah, get some wins together, maybe stay off the bottom. If not, if they still stick together in relegation, well then they can hopefully build. But looking at some other results from across Zone 1, we had Swansea have a 3-3 draw with the Suns. Suns with a few games in hand still up in second, though dropping 2 points here against Swansea isn't great for them to catch up on to Croatia.
Yeah, now the only game I've seen Swansea play was against Kotara at Kotara's Old Boys Day, and not a good day for them to describe exactly how they go about their football, because there was a lot of people around. It was pretty noisy, but they're a decent side. They're a good side. And does it surprise me they got beat? Had a draw, I should say. Yes, it does, because I think there's too much quality in the Suns group. There's way too much quality in that Suns group. It did surprise me that was the result. But good on Swansea. They're well coached. They're enthusiastic. They've got some great guys in the side. There's no lacking of characters in the group, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They moved the ball around pretty well. I was impressed the way that they got themselves out at the back pretty comfortably. They didn't dwell on it. They're just pretty purposeful about going from the back of the third into the middle of the park. They were doing that pretty well against the Kotara side that were on fire. So look, yes, it does surprise me, but I can see that it could happen if the Suns aren't on the game, and maybe that was the case. Didn't actually see the game, but just knowing pretty much every player in that group, it does surprise. So they'll be disappointed, and there's that little bit further gap between first and second.
Yeah, that's it. And then also disappointment for Swansea only getting that 1 point, then allowed the door open for Cardiff to jump them. Cardiff now in 7th after a 4-1 win over Stockton. And then, as we mentioned as well, Croatia Suns chasing them with a 1-0 win over Kotara, which also then puts Kotara down into 4th.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of things here. One is Cardiff for me. At the beginning of the year, I thought they'd be knocking on the door for a top 4 spot. So coming in at this time of the year, start to get some wins, start to get a bit of a roll on. Don't disregard Cardiff because they've got some quality through the park. I could say they've got one superstar in the side, but I've got a bias there in Alex Reid. But there's plenty of them that can play in that team, and there's a good reason to think for Cardiff they're going to be knocking on that door.
Yeah.
Look, this Kotara side. Wow, I did speak to one of the guys today. He was telling me about the game. He said it's the best game Kotara has played all year.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But didn't get the result, and as it was described to me, against a side that in Croatia that probably didn't play their best. So if Croatia hasn't played their best, Kotara has played their best, and it was pretty much either way, is from what I'm hearing without bias, that it just could have gone either way. Then, that's football, isn't it?
Exactly.
Start to get to that top 4 end, and it's a goal in it, and that's what's happened. And for Croatia, if they weren't on their game, then I know Jamie Burns didn't play, and there was 1 or 2 out, but Qatar is the same. Everyone's got players out.
Yeah, of course.
I heard McGuinness had a really good game up front.
As he always seems to do.
As he always does, and there's plenty of others in that group, Zach Hills, etc., that you just can only respect what. And Josh Pepperskew has always got them, organised and.
Yeah, if you can still pull a win in a bad day, well, then you obviously your strengths show themselves.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do. They win.
Yeah,
win ugly. How many times have we heard that? But that's actually true. And
of course, yeah.
And for Kotara, their strike force was on fire again, but just didn't put anything away. Created plenty of chances, but didn't get the job done. So that's the way it went for that one.
Yeah, and as formerly mentioned, Kotara now moving into 4th, with Uni taking their spot in 3rd after a 2-2 draw with Olympic, and Warners Bay getting a maybe somewhat surprising win 2-1 over Mayfield as well.
Yeah, this Olympic and Uni game, we saw them in the first game of the season, and literally Uni ran over the top of them. That was the real difference. They were really steamrolled the Azuri side, the Olympic side, and I thought it's just lack of fitness. And once these guys get their legs in, and I saw them 2 weeks ago, the Olympic team, and they looked good. They had Harkin and Casaroli in the middle of the park, and they were dominant. That pair, and so I would have thought that class. But this Uni team, they just
keep firing,
fit and young, and that's where Gareth Wozzick's the chicken schnitzel feed came in for one of the Uni students. But good on them, if that's what's working for them, that's what's working.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's just these results that. Obviously this week's proven, but I'm sure in weeks to come as well, just show how tight and how unknowing, the whole of Zone League potentially, but definitely Zone 1 is shaping up to be.
Yeah, and I'm loving it this time of the year too. It's cold, wet. People don't want to turn up to training, so the teams that are going to, dedicate. So if you're going to dedicate yourselves, do it now, and make sure you get your systems rolling well, and you're really familiar with each other's games, because it makes such a difference when you're coming into this part of the year, because there can be 6-point turnarounds.
100%.
Because we've got catch-up games coming on. We've got some teams are going to miss out the weather, and so there's points to be made up. This is the time of the year when you train, and I was just talking to Graham Schofield earlier today, and he was just telling me, it's difficult to get people to training because of a number of reasons, with work and this and that, whatever. But when it's cold, I know it's even harder. So get yourselves there on behalf of every coach. If you don't turn up, you're not playing on the weekend. Sort that out yourselves. You've got to be there. If you want to be in the fun part of the season when it's starting to warm up and the sun's out.
Yeah.
Do it now.
That's it. Well, looking down into Zone 2 now, and speaking of teams maybe not training, Crowders Bay Crabs out at Baxter I can't imagine they've been getting on to train, but they did get on in the weekend, not at Baxter, at Smith Park, with a 3-0 win over struggling New Lambton. And also announcing after the game their star signing, Daniel McBreen, who I have on good authority only took 2 minutes to score his first goal for the club.
Oh, and he would have been crabbing his way all over the place. What was his thing he used to do with the Mariners? It was can't remember, but yeah, I'm sure he'd be doing these ones the whole way after. Anyway, it's red hot news.
100%. And look, I'll say from watching from a distance, also being at Smith Park, he definitely wasn't moving that quick, so maybe a bit of a crab walk going on there.
Yeah, but he'll get his fitness. One thing I'll say about Macca is that he is a genuine footballer. He loves it, and he's into it, and he's here, playing for the right reasons because he loves to play it. He just loves football, and I think it's a credit to him in his early 30s to be still going.
Yep, we'll
I'm
say
looking
that
after him
age.
because we used to paste him about his age at Edgeworth. Yeah, good on you, Macca. Early 30s, doing a great job and still going. But big signing for the Crabs.
Big signing for the league, big signing for the Crabs.
And
It's
not only
amazing.
that, when you got someone like him walking out in the park on your team, you just lift yourself.
Yeah,
You're
100%.
gonna, and because you don't want Daniel McBreen looking you down the barrel, mate, and saying, "Listen, you need to have a go." But you just be pumped to play. And you be pumped to play with him. The players will learn a lot off him.
Yep.
Just the demeanour, don't want to pump him up too much, but I do want to pump him up at the same time. But just the way he'll hold himself, if he does train at training, and on game days, and he's great with the kids and all that sort of stuff. Like I think it's fantastic for the league, as you said.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously Crabs will be cheering about that. Also, something to cheer for the Crabs is bit of breathing room left by Wolves with their draw over Minmai on the weekend, a 1-1. Not sure if you could say the Norths letting the foot off the gas just yet, as they have been strong, but only getting a point from a 7th place team isn't ideal at this time of the year.
No, and this is like every point, no matter what part of the year, but these ones are the ones you can make up.
Yep.
Like these are the ones where teams are, like I said before, not turning up to training. It's wet, it's cold, this is that, whatever reason you're not going to come. Your mum's got to bake dinner on, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're turning those negatives or whatever into positives, and you are working hard, and your team just becomes stronger as a unit, and you don't want to be dropping any points at the bottom end of the table, like you say, Mason. Like it's just not the go, and you want to be striving to win the competition, and consolidate yourself in the top 4 and go from there, of course. But if your ambition is to be in the top 4, you should be setting a strategy to win it.
100%.
How are you going to do it from there? Well, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah, for sure. And as we keep just looking down that Zone 2 table as well, once you get past 2nd into 3rd and down, it's quite tight, as proven by the Southern United versus Jaffas result. Southern going from 4th to 3rd with their 5-1 win over Jaffas, but the Lambton dropping from 3rd to 6th. Just in that one result.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen at this time of the year, because someone will play midweek, pick up 3 points, you drop 2 points, and then they winning it on the weekend, and then it's a 5-point turnaround, and all of a sudden.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And so this I don't know, over the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks, we'll just about be able to lock in the top 4 from there.
Yeah, you'd think so. With the other results floating around Zone 2 as well, Nelson Bay versus Cooks Hill. Cooks Hill getting a 2-1 win there. Bulwarra back into the top 4 with a 4-1 win over Mayfield Juniors. And then down towards the bottom end of the table, South Maitland and Merriweather Advance having a 3-3 draw. That one, high-scoring affair, obviously, on paper, but you've got to think both of those teams would be disappointed to not just get that bit of a jump off the bottom of the table, still being quite low and not safe at all.
These are the games when you go into the dressing shed after the game and think, if only that, if only that, because of the small things that matter.
Yeah.
And separate the teams. But, in the end, that's just the way that's worked out for them. And at both sides, I guarantee there's multiple people in those dressing rooms feeling disappointed.
Yeah. Finally, to round out the review of round 15, we have Zone 3. Barnsley got away scot-free with a bye this weekend, but Southern Lakes dropping points to struggling Garden Suburb, with Suburbs getting a 2-1 win. Charlestown and Rutherford floating around that mid-table clash there with a 1-1 draw. Merriweather United and Curry with a 2-2 draw, both fighting in that top 4, and then the other two in and around that top 4, Brankston and Madawi, Brankston getting a tight 2-0 win.
Yeah, look, every game you've just said there is looking, for me, can go either way.
Yeah.
Without having seen a lot of them, but just knowing where they are on the table and the points, it's really valuable, the amount of players you've got at your disposal at this time of the year. If you've got 20 guys to pick from, it's a whole lot better. 20 first graders is a whole lot better than staring down the barrel, which I know Azuri have done. And we've got 6 genuine first graders here, and that hurts, and that makes a difference. So all of these games are going to be tight and important, and I think player availability will play a part in sorting that out.
For sure, and with lack of a better word, this being the crunch time, with injuries as well normally happening in this time. It's getting colder, games are stacking up, people are getting sore and not recovering as well. And it shows in these results how tight they are, when at the start of the year across all grades, we had a few blowout results, but really starting to come down to it now, where it can be down to just one goal, one decision.
Yeah, so every one of you will know that when you're playing on these heavy pitches, and yourself, too, Mason.
Yeah.
Once you're playing on a heavy pitch once, and then you do it again, and then you do it again the next week, these things start to add up, and then maybe you're having a little bit of time off training because you're recovering, and you don't want to go, so you've still got sort of half a tweak to get. Like, all of these things add up, and fatigue is what that is, and that's setting in. So the quicker you can recover and look after yourself, and the quicker you can get back to training, moderate your training to suit your injuries and suit your workload. In other words, if you had a really heavy pitch on the weekend, you don't want to go flog it too hard on Tuesday night, because you're just going to make it worse. But if you had a good game on a Saturday, and everyone's feeling they got through it, then, work hard on Tuesday, and then put yourselves through and do it a bit lighter on Thursday, all the natural things you're going to do. Yeah. But that sort of pattern is the one that's going to have you ready to go again on the weekend. And we've been through that patch where it's been really wet, and now it looks like it's going to be good weather for a while.
Well, fingers crossed, but you can never tell. It started sprinkling on my way here tonight, so who really knows? But hopefully, not only do we want the players to recover well, but we're really looking for Fields to start recovering so we can knock out the end of this season. Just wanted to take a minute to thank all of our great sponsors of the Zone In podcast. We have Deploy Football, the leading developers and manufacturers of performance sporting solutions, not only just including our awesome balls, and also sportswear, with all of our grassroots clubs in helping them design and produce amazing apparel. One of our other major sponsors, Solved Marketing. If you want your problems solved are the ones to go with. Helping businesses, brands solve complex challenges with ingenuity and creative solutions. Solved Marketing is our go-to agency for all of our marketing needs, and we cannot recommend them enough. And finally, Harry Schnitzel Joint. You guys know every week, Man of the Match is presented with the Harry Schnitzel Award. Definitely go check Harry Schnitzel out. And we know that all the Man of the Match recipients have been so excited to get their Harry Schnitzel Man of the Match Award and get down to Harry Schnitzel Joint. A new thing that Wilso and I started up last week, where we put a few tips out there, made a few bold statements. We're going to call it the knowledge versus novice of tipping. So between yourself and Wilso, whoever's on, and coming up against me, we'll see for the rest of the season now how many correct results we can pick.
What was the word you used before? You were going to rinse me? Or was that something else?
Rinse you?
Yeah, well, you got rinsed.
Yeah, I get rinsed in the forum all the time for being a novice. But we'll see who really knows.
I don't know about that.
Who knows football?
You're all right, mate. You're all right, mate. You're all right.
And speaking of that, the accountability of last week's tips. Myself getting 2 correct out of the 5, picking Croatia and Southern United for wins. Wilso only getting 1 from 5 correct, picking Croatia. So yeah, well, looking into this weekend, you might have to pick up the slack for your mate there.
Unless I'm going none from 5. Let's go.
So then, speaking of, it isn't this weekend coming up. Isn't round 16? We do actually have a wet weather weekend. So coincidentally and conveniently, 5 games getting played this weekend between the leagues, which is the perfect amount that we want to tip for.
Let's go.
It's fallen into place perfectly. So the first game we're looking at is in Zone 3. Curry in second on 28 points, coming up against 6th place Charlestown on 16 points out at Curry at Birley Oval. Obviously, Charlestown, you commentated the game out there a couple of weeks ago at Smith Park against Merewether. They've got some quality, and for them to be coming up into 6th place now, they're making a little bit of a comeback, and Curry's probably nervous, a little bit shaken in that second position because at the moment nothing's guaranteed.
I don't reckon Curry are nervous. I reckon they're up for it. So we're going win, draw, or loss. Is that where we're running with this? Or did you just go win, loss?
Last week we picked winners, but draws weren't really in our mind. So you can pick a draw if you.
No. Look, I'll pick one of the 3, but I'm going to go with Charlestown.
To get the win over Curry there. I reckon definitely if Zach Lloyd in that match of the round game put on a masterclass, and the rest of his team maybe weren't up to his level on that day. But I definitely think if Lloydie can rally the boys around and really get them to play as one unit, it's obviously proving because they're coming on the up. But I will have to contrast you here, and after playing against Curry on the weekend, they are definitely a force. So I'm gonna go the Roosters here.
Good.
The next game is Merewether United versus Garden Suburb, Saturday game as well. Merewether currently in 4th place on 19 points, with Suburbs just behind them, 8th place, 15 points. This one's being played at Myambla, 2:30 on Saturday. We haven't seen Suburbs on the match of the round yet, but Merewether's been on 2 games so far. We just mentioned before the game against Charlestown and the weekend two ago against Medowie. What's your thoughts on these teams in this game?
Yeah, well, I've got to say, born and bred Merewether boy.
Yep.
M-Bay, they used to call it Merewether Bay in the day.
Wow.
M-Bay, if you want to use that.
Yep.
Yeah, born and bred Merewether. I can't go past Merewether. The home of football at Wembley, to my Wembley Crescent. Know every blade on the thing and skidded a few in the time. Yeah, no, I've got to go with the hometown on this one.
Yeah, look, it'd be very wrong of me to go against my own team that I play for, and especially after a few weeks back when I was down on that couch, not speaking too highly of Garden Suburbs and their players. So yeah, I'm going to have to go Merewether here, and I'll even throw in a little extra prediction. I'm going a 4-0 win for Merewether.
Oh, how many are you going to score?
Probably none.
I'm giving you 2.
Yep, 2, righto. Well, that'll be one to review next week.
So
next game, looking into Zone 1, still on the Saturday, Newcastle Olympic, 6th place with 22 points, coming up against 2nd place Suns, 29 points at Islington Park.
Well, the Greeks and the Macedonians, oil and water just does not mix.
What a clash that will be.
And this is, I don't care what division it is and what's going on. Either in the NPL, there's this rivalry. This one's even bigger because this is where all the boys are.
Yeah.
If I throw a little grenade in here, I'm going to say the Suns are going to win, but they're gonna do it tough if they do.
Oh, 100%.
And this Olympic side have got more than enough firepower to get the job done.
Yeah.
I probably can't go into Beaumont Street for a month, but I'm going to go with the Suns on this one.
Yeah, look, I'm going to have to go with that one as well. Suns being in second place still with a game or two in hand obviously just shows their class even in a mixed-up season. But definitely I can't see it being more than 1 or 2 goals, the difference. But I would definitely say Olympic are going to come in with fire in their belly and definitely the supporters at the ground should be full in their belly because damn, that canteen at Islington Oval is to die for.
Well, I'm just going to put one more in there. I still love you, George Saffy.
Everyone loves George Saff. But yeah, if not the battle on the field, definitely the battle of the canteens from the Greeks and the Macedonians may have to be rivaled on Saturday. That one is at 4:30 as well. So definitely one, as we say, these are the ones to watch games. Not all on Bar TV, but yeah, definitely one to go down to the ground. For sure. Finally, on Sunday at 2:30, Warners Bay in 9th place, 17 points, coming up against the Students, Newcastle Uni, 4th place with 25 points down at John Street Oval on the lake. Look, I can't think of anything better than a Sunday mid-afternoon game along the lake, picturesque-wise and viewing, but definitely could be a game of football to watch as well there.
Yeah, look, I was there 2 weeks ago, and it was a beautiful afternoon, Mason. It was just picture perfect. The ground was in really good shape, and the conditions, you just couldn't ask for a better. There was a horrible stench. I thought something was dead in the creek, but apart from that, I think it was just going on the low tide. It was horrid, but apart from that, it was really, really picturesque. Don't let that put you off because I'm sure it'll be mid-tide next week. Troy Hooker had his team, all organised for that day. It just didn't work out. They came up against, Olympic that day, and I think with the way that the university side's been going and knowing how Warners Bay played, I think that the uni team's going to run over the top of them. I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think with the pace and also just it seemed a little bit more balanced across the park.
Yep. Well, as much as I do love uni and am glad to see they're going great this year, I'm gonna have to go the opposite on you. Warners Bay getting a win over a strong Mayfield side on the weekend just gone. I reckon they could come into this really raring and ready to go, and uni might not know what's coming.
Look, they've got some great players. The left and right side at the back, particularly on the left side, very strong, central midfielders, and they've got a great striker up front who hustles and bustles all day. And they're there. I can just imagine that uni's gonna roll over the top.
For sure. And you did mention about you were at the game commentating the Olympic Warners Bay game the other week. There's a couple questions asked. Just the start of that second half, we didn't hear your voice for a couple of minutes. Bit late coming back from the bolo maybe, or?
No, that wasn't actually the case. I was talking to one of the players' parents and plus I had a sausage saying, so I had to finish that. And coincidentally, he scored, and then mum and dad would go and commentate. And I'm like, no, it was covered. Cameron had it covered.
Yeah.
So, good pick-up. It wasn't that long, probably 20 minutes.
Finally looking to this week's Bar TV match of the round, Saturday 12th of July at 2:30, sees Crowders Bay coming up against Southern United at Baxter Field. Fingers crossed it's at Baxter Field and we go ahead. Crowders Bay in first place with 42 points at the moment, absolutely smashing it. And Southern United in third place on 26 points. That is going to be a big clash.
massive clash. And look, I think I've just got to say it up front. You know, when you first, the third, if that's what it is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be game on. You know, you want to protect your first spot. In third, you want to go and bump them over more than anything, so you've got a chance at the premiership. That's what we're in for. And I got to say, Mace, like for Bar TV, for us to come in, it's such a pleasure. Like you love it. You're at the ground. You're in amongst the grassroots football. The people, like everyone's been so good to us as a group, and you know it as a player.
Yeah, for
and doing
sure.
this, like we just absolutely love going in to commentate there. So whoever it is at Crowders Bay, then if you whoever the main person of the club is, what we've been doing each week is talking to that person and getting an understanding of what makes the club tick.
Yeah.
So whoever you are, if you can...
Well, we had Chad McCarter on at the first guest episode, actually, with the Crabs on, and Chad being one of the founding members of Crowders Bay Crabs. He'll be there. Fairly certain he's a first grader himself, but I'm sure if the cameras are rolling a bit before kick-off, he'll be more than happy to have a chat.
Yeah, no, it's a half-time thing, so we'll get someone else in there while he's doing his thing that's not taking part, but get a good feeling for what the club does and how it's... And they're doing really well at the moment. So
yeah, for sure. And also this game as well, in collaboration, the Crabs working with Talk to Me Bro organisation. So Talk to Me Bro will be there. They're creating awareness for men's mental health and just reaching out for help in general, which is a great cause, especially in sports, male sports and leagues like this in general. Sometimes a stigma about males having to be strong and you can't be weak and speak, but what Talk to Me Bro are doing is a great initiative, and hopefully this day they can showcase a little more about themselves, and maybe we'll get them on to talk as well. Yeah,
absolutely, no doubt. And we have a Darren Stewart game that's a memorial match for Darren Stewart, who lost his life through mental health issues, and that's been going for about 7 years or so now. Talk to Me Bro have been like so present in all of that, watching what they do on the weekends down at the beach, and all the different sporting clubs have been involved in. So, yeah, tune in, watch, and we will definitely get them on and talking to those guys. I think it is really important, as you're saying, just to recognise it, understand it, and be okay to say you're not okay.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And we all have those moments when and sometimes you're not even sure, and sometimes you just need check in. And these guys are a great way to help recognise. So enough on that, but I'm really looking forward to their involvement, looking forward to Southern as well. So you guys, I'm going to get in contact with you during, just before the game, find out who all of your players are. So if you've got any dirt on each other or whatever, I'm going to try and find out what that is so that we can bring that out through the game and have a bit of fun with that. And the same with Crowders Bay as well. We know a few of them already, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. As formerly mentioned, of Macca, how do you think? Do you reckon he'll be a bit camera shy being on Bar TV?
I can tell you, McCarts will not be camera shy. No, he'll be about as camera shy as you and I, mate. He'll be all right.
Maybe his whole angle of signing with the Crabs, McBreen, was to maybe get away from the spotlight, and now here we are.
Yeah,
his second game on the field, we've put him in front of the cameras again.
I know what he'll say. If I come over to him with the microphone, he'll just look at me and say, "Piss off." That's what he'll say. He'll shake his head and walk the other direction.
Yeah. But no, it'll be great to see him in action, as well as all the other players on ground for that game. But before we can wrap it up, who's your pick here?
Well, I'm going to go Crowders Bay here.
It's really hard not to. Wilson and I spoke about last week when we were addressing Southern versus Jaffers, the drive that the Jaffers would have to make to Foster. Well, now it's in reverse. Southern have to come down to Crowders Bay, of all places for them to have to go to is down there, Marks Point way. It's never great to have such a long drive before a game.
I don't know. you guys probably won't, Southern, but if it was me, I'd be organising a bus and having a good time on the way home. That's what I'd be thinking. Make a day of it. But anyway, it should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you there. And like I said, we love doing it, so it'll be a great day out, and hope the weather's okay.
For sure.
And we haven't just jinxed it before, and we get on with a cracker of an afternoon.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, just to reiterate, Saturday the 12th of July, 2:30 kickoff, Crowders Bay versus Southern United at Baxter Field. Definitely, as we say all the time, if you can get down there, it makes it so much better for the atmosphere, for the teams, for you guys commentating as well. But if not, well, we have the backup of watching it live on Bar TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And your grandkids can watch it, and you can do it when you're 40 or 50, 60 years old and tell them how good you were.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, get down to the ground. It'll be an absolute belter.
Yeah, and maybe one last shout out to the players as well. As the NRL in July does Try July, with the celebrations and everything over-exaggerated, I reckon we shout out for the rest of the season. We want to see the best celebrations that you guys can do on camera. Look, you may only get the one chance, so make it a good one.
Well, we had couple of weeks ago, had one lined up with Harkin Carnley and I. Who can Harkin? And if he scored, he and I were going to do a celebration.
Oh, no.
So, if anyone's up for it, I'm up for it.
Well, there you go. Hit up CT's line and you might be able to do a duo celebration there.
It'll probably swing the Harry Schnitties your way. It would.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for us tonight, CT. It was great to have you back on. Another great episode here. And we'll catch you all on next week's episode. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is the Zone Football League.